I asked Dr. Cunningham, I said, do you mind if I come with you to speak to the father? Together, we walked down the hallway, knocked on the door. He opened the door, and even 25, 30 years later, I still can't believe what happened. But this kind, compassionate doctor just blurted out, my name's Dr. Cunningham. Your baby's dead. The father, I remember it just like it was yesterday. He literally punched a hole in the wall. He knocked the lamp down. He was totally blindsided, let out a scream that I'd never heard before. And Dr. Cunningham put the back of his hand on my chest and he just said, let him be. And so the father calmed down after a few minutes. He sat down, and then Dr. Cunningham sat with him. And really, at that point, you really saw who the real Dr. Cunningham was. He was compassionate. He said all the nice, best things. Of course, the damage had been done, but we spoke to the father for a few minutes and then escorted him to go see his dead son. I said to the father, I'll give you some time alone. And when I walked out into the hallway, Dr. Cunningham was waiting for me. And he grabbed me by my scrub and he pulled me in within a few inches to my face. And I could see actually was crying. And he pulled me in really close and he said very loudly, do you see what I just did? And I shook my head, yes. And he goes, don't ever do that. And then he turned around and walked to the end of the hallway, went on the fire escape and cried for the next minute. And that was really a profound change in my life. At that point, my thoughts were, if this kind, compassionate, accomplished physician couldn't give bad news and actually made things worse in the worst of time, really, what chance do I have? I'm just a kid from Newark, New Jersey. And so it was really at that point that I decided that I was going to answer two questions. One, is there a right way and a wrong way to break bad news? And two, if there is, can it be taught? And so when I graduated, my first job was at NYU. I started to research that there's no literature involved in that. This is 1997. And so what I decided to do is, well, let's find out from people. And so I sat down with nearly 100 couples, parents, widows, widowers, people who've been diagnosed with cancer. And we had very nice open-ended conversations about, tell me the time that you found out your husband died. Tell me about the time that you found out you had a stillborn child. Tell me about, and then I asked them, what was it that the doctor did? It's amazing how much they remember the detail. It was really shocking how they would remember the color of the doctor's pants, what their perfume was, etc. But it was a clear pattern about what things that the doctor did or said that seemed to help and what things the doctor said or did that seemed to make things worse. And so after 10 years of doing that, I came up with my first communication program, which is called Breaking Bad News. And the rest is history.
Now, I'm going to just interject for a second because as general pediatricians, we hear in neonatologists breaking bad news, the first thing that comes into my brain is the child is dead. That's really bad news.
Yeah.
But every day, and more so now that I'd say a quarter of pediatrics is psychiatry and a quarter of pediatrics is pediatric endocrinology, we have to give what to the parents are really bad news. Your child's autistic. Your child is diabetic. Your child's hypertensive. Your child's depressed with suicidal ideation. Yes, it's not your child is dead, but I can only imagine sitting on the other chair in that exam room, how hard those news are to receive as a parent. So I think your program has an impact beyond your child is dead, your child is going to die, your child has cancer. It's a method that can be used effectively every day in clinic. And it's in some ways, wonderfully simple that I think can do a lot of good. What is the Orsini Way? You have a couple of steps that you call program.
Yeah. So after I came up with this program, I came up with this acronym, and I'll go over that with you. I had answered my first question, and that was, is there a right way and a wrong way of giving bad news? And you're exactly right, Herb. Bad news could be I'm sorry, but you sprained your knee and you can't play in the state championship football game, right? That's devastating news to a high school 17-year-old quarterback. So there's a lot of different bad news. And when I developed the acronym program, I wanted that acronym to work for any kind of bad news, whether it was you can't play in the football game or your son just died. But also the acronym works now that we teach patient experience and other things.